What's up, men? Welcome to the Male Cartel podcast. Let's get started.
Do you think men are important? Like for what?
Men are not meant to be dominant. Men are meant to be submissive.
Life's too short to exercise. I'm just gonna be honest.
It's okay to be fat.
Dispelling toxic masculinity and really redefining what it means to be a man. Men can cry. So it's okay to be weak. It's okay to be weak.
I'm telling you right now, not everybody wants to see you win.
You seem to be more woman than you are man. You don't have any manly qualities.
You give them this message that it's okay to be a man.
It's not okay, it's necessary. How are we going to do without men? You look around the city here, you see all these buildings go up, these men, they're doing impossible things.
It ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done.
Be a dangerous man. Being dangerous is not being a threat. They're two different things. You can't be a good man if you're not a dangerous man. You say one disrespectful thing to my wife, I am not only willing, but I'm able to inflict great bodily damage.
I'm going to do everything in my power to become a victor and not a victim. I can't explain it, but you better feel me. Winners win and losers lose. I can't explain it any better than that. I don't know how it happens, but winners win. And if you create a culture of losing, if you keep being a victim, if you keep letting losing happen to you, if you keep letting people do you and treat you any kind of way, it's going to become a culture. What's the matter with you? There is no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow.
Here's your host, Nick and Shane.
We are back. Episode 48, Male Cartel.
We back again.
We were
We're
just
like Terminator.
We were just talking about my wife's new book.
Yep.
Your book will not look like this.
Yes. My book will look not as good as that.
This was an original concept. It says not for resale. So this is a classic. When she makes it big, and she's going to like cafes and doing readings and all that stuff.
So, all right,
I'll be able to sell my coffee and make a lot of money.
You can fix the leak in the church, too, the pipe leak. I have a question. If she does Audible, is she going to be on Audible?
It's already like on Kindle Unlimited or whatever.
No, I'm saying like Audible, like
it
listens to you.
I mean, possibly.
Like, well, you need to be the guy that reads it.
Oh, yeah.
On Audible.
Yeah.
You got to ask her about it. She at least had to throw you a bone. And it's like, it's narrated by Nick Carnes.
Well, and
you're like, how do you start off? Read some of it real quick.
Do a little bit of a reading?
Yeah, that's practice.
That's why I was trying to find a section because, it's written from a female. I would like to think.
No, you got
because I was looking
feminine voice, though.
You said you ordered some copies?
I ordered 3 copies,
Friendships
bro.
in the Soup Bowl?
Yeah, Friendships. I was going to say if it was you and me.
Listen,
if it was you and I, if it was you and I writing the book, it'd be Friendships in the Toilet Bowl.
Yeah. Well, it says
How to Ruin Friendships.
Now, I'm not saying this just because I'm her husband. Like, I read some books I don't read all of.
Uh-huh.
But, like I put on my original post, it's really good, but it's also written with, like, feminine tones. But looking at all my friends who bought a copy for their wife or other people, I would like to think that Male Cartel kind of, helped set it up for success.
Bro, we moved it to number 2 to number 1, bro.
We did.
I spent three. How much money? It was like $12 each, bro.
Now think about
all
the
like $40
books
on taxes.
Yeah. Well, thank
Merry
you
Christmas.
first of all. I told her she just needs to sell enough books that we can pay off her car.
That's right.
That would be a success. She's like, I ain't selling that many. I was like, you never know. You never know.
Uh-huh.
But I saw, think of all the books in church leadership. Think of all the books that are out there under church leadership. There's a lot. Well, under new releases, she's now number 1.
Mm-hmm.
And when I posted that, all of my friends are like, oh, I bought a copy for my wife. I bought 3 copies.
Mm-hmm.
You bought 3 copies. So I think the Male Cartel,
for sure, bro.
She should have put a little section in here thanking the Male Cartel. But she shouts us out. and shares our episode so we can share our book. But a little portion, this is where it's got feminine tones.
So hold up. This is Audible by Nicholas Carnes.
All right. I was showing up for everyone else and disappearing on myself. That's not ministry. That's performance. And performance leads to burnout. Friend, God never asked you to burn out to prove your love. He asked you to abide.
Hey, that's strong. Mic drop. That's good, dude.
Good.
Like I would hire you.
Yeah. But see, I've started a book, and we actually said at the same time we both wanted to write a book, but she actually did it. I would not write friend. That's what women do. So ladies will love that kind of writing style. Friend,
I hate it.
My friend.
Let me be honest with you real quick, since you brought up the word friend.
She doesn't say
I hate it, bro. I hate it when females, and they're in my church, I'm gonna tell you, they always say, thanks, friend. Something, something, friend. Thanks, friend. I do something nice for them. They go, thanks, friend.
Right.
I go like, just say thanks. You ain't got to say friend. Like,
It's a
you're stating the
girl thing.
obvious. It's weird. Like,
I guess
I
it's
wear
like we
drawers.
say,
I don't.
what's up, bro?
It has to be
Hey,
something like
dude.
that.
Yeah.
It's
It's just
weird.
that is for them, it's like friend.
Well, I'm writing a book too, but she smoked you and me. We could both got cooked in that. I'm really hoping that I'll be done with like the writing portion and all that by my goal is May, and then I'll get somebody that kind of edit it, and then my daughter's actually going to be my designer, my illustrator.
Okay.
She's going to do all my illustrations and all that, and then we'll have somebody that I know that wants me to do the book, and then they're going to help like publish it and stuff. But if not,
Get her to read it, because by the time you're done, she'll, already be touring the country and
she could
doing readings in cafes.
She can even say in the back
She could
of
do
the
your
book
forward, or do a, what do they call it? An endorsement?
Yeah. I need some of those.
Yeah.
I need you as the narrator, and then her as the author.
How do you want me to narrate yours? Because that was pretty soft tones. Do you
No,
want more?
you got to do it like the '80s movies, bro, that we grew up with. Like, I'm just gonna have a dude on the front with a headband, because everybody wore headbands
Like
back
Macho Man Randy Savage.
Oh
yeah. Now on chapter 2.
That's so funny.
What's chapter 2 going to be?
Oh yeah, it's I can't can't
Don't
get
divulge. Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say
Somebody stole my idea.
I don't want to give it away, but each like chapter has like different things to do, like journaling points, questions, closing prayer. It's interactive. It's not just read. But there is one part that I really liked, and I was like, this is good for guys. This is good for anybody. It's called, and I don't want to give it away because you need to buy the book, but Right Friends, Right Place. And there's a whole exercise on making sure you've got the right friends in the right place. And kind of like in leadership, like having the right people on the bus and the right seats. But this was a really good exercise. I thought was good. So we'll link to this in the show notes, and maybe Male Cartel can like keep her at number 1, because we've already got her to number 1.
We did, man. She was number 2
It does
until
not
we showed
look
up.
like this. She totally changed the front.
I actually love it. That looks real cheesy, I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, well, my idea was do a fishbowl type deal, and we tried it, and that's what it turned out to be. So I was like, shouldn't you have 2 fish if it's friendships and a...
It is. That's what I would do. And then, like, I think you could have kept that, and then just make it look matted look, and then like add some certain color like bright, and then make it look matted look.
Yeah.
And that wouldn't But I like the image on theirs. I'm gonna have one where I'm tossing you up in the air. That's how it's gonna be, or us looking and flying a kite together.
Oh man!
And so
I love it.
Yeah, dude. So that's awesome.
Well,
you're gonna be famous. You can be famous, bro.
There are people who will steal your ideas, so it's good that we keep it under wrap.
That's why I didn't want to say
I've already got a book title. I've already got chapters laid out. I just got to put the content But I know, because there's people like years ago I said, Shane and I have talked about doing a podcast. We need to do a podcast. And it's like, oh, yeah, I'd like to be a part of that. And then they go and start their own podcast. And You know, it's not a 2-star podcast like ours, but you know, it's like they don't have original ideas of their own, so you have to protect that, and that's why Nikki said she kept this a secret, probably because she also just wanted to make sure it was done well before she put it out into the world.
I'm a firm believer in it now, where people, like you said, like I'm fine with like doing stuff. I feel like I'm a pretty creative guy. Like I really do. I do think that I don't flex that enough and don't spend a lot of time being creative. But when I do, really good stuff usually happens. I don't know. I just don't carve out a lot of time for that. In saying that, I don't mind doing things, or you and I do things where we can make inspiration for other people to do. What I do not like is when people steal what I do. I'm big on that. I don't steal nobody else's junk, but I'll never forget people they did a whole youth ministry and basically copied mine verbatim. And then did even youth events like I would do, and then even t-shirt design. And then I called them out a little bit, and then they were like, ghosted me. And then like 3 years later come out and apologize when everything that they did build crumbled, because that wasn't what the Lord told them to do. They just thought it was a cool idea and stole it. Yeah. And then after a while, it crashes and burns, because you're not using your own gasoline to get up and fly. You're actually using someone else's gasoline. And when yours runs dry, then it's going to crash and burn. Dude, and I don't know how many times people have stolen, even phrases that I say all the time, Shaneisms, that I literally got sermons from 23 years ago that I can show you on pen and paper where it was documented. Or when somebody says something, they're using this certain terminology, like even my shirt right now, Hope Dealer. I remember when I started saying that, because I made it a big joke one time about being in the streets. I'm not slinging dope, I'm slinging hope. And my little rhymes, like the gospel lived out with your hands and feet, not your body in a seat. I say all these little funny stuff that people, that was a Greenbrier Church deal. That was our saying on our Blessed back page, our missions, our outreach. That was just a saying, and that's 2007. And so when I said, we got to be in the streets giving hope, not dealing dope, that's hilarious and very cheesy. But then I just say, I'm just a hope dealer. We have a hope that's in Christ Jesus, like 1 Peter says, that we never spoil, perish or fade. And so like you say these things, and next thing I know, people come up with stuff, and then I know that it gets kind of trendy. The word hope, it got hit a trend about 10 years ago, and then
it's easy to people to take and
but then they say, well, I'm the original. I saw somebody on Facebook saying that a friend of mine or the original hope dealer, and I was like, hold up,
the real hope dealer.
And you're going, no. I remember us sitting from this one individual. Let me tell you this.
Was it a real conversation?
It was a real conversation.
All right.
I remember.
Make sure it's real.
Sitting at Applebee's with this individual. They thought it was awesome that they labeled me the hope dealer, because I said I was the hope dealer, and then I went and spoke at this church, and a certain individual was there, heard it, thought it was super catchy. Then we go sit at Applebee's. We have this long conversation about stuff. They don't listen to our podcast, so I'm not like gossip or anything. I'm just telling you my experience. And they begin to say how they just love that. We talked it all out. It was really funny. And like now that I look back, what I didn't know is that they were going to try to steal some of my language. And you're going like, hold up, you must have forgot about Applebee's. You know what I mean? Like you forget, like we had this conversation.
Yeah.
I don't know when everything transpired and how people, it's crazy.
I remember you having an idea and someone taking it, and it was on the local news, and they're taking the credit. I sent it to you.
That was a big deal.
I knew that originated beyond years ago before you were connected to that individual.
It was a you and me thing.
Yeah, because, there's language that's even used locally now that
100%.
Was like I led a thing
no, you
nationally.
You need to say it.
Yeah, it was Kingdom Day.
Kingdom Day.
It was 2009, I believe, because I had the opportunity to share it at Saddleback at the PDYM conference.
We got a Facebook event page for that.
And I had a website. Like it was nationwide. It was nationwide.
2008.
If you remember, I challenged the local.
That's right.
Group. I said, if basically we're getting all these students together, instead of us just having more Bible studies, why don't we attempt to do something where we're getting them to live it out, make it more of a day of service projects and stuff like that. We called it Kingdom Day.
That's right.
And I shared it with the leadership team with PDYM, which I was connected with, and they loved it. They gave us a whole page. I got the notebook. There was a whole page in the conference notebook, and then we, announced it. And I remember getting messages like that day from across the country. We had so many students. People were posting it online. It might have been also back in the MySpace days. They were dying, but yet you still had groups on there sharing. So anyway, so now everything's kingdom this, kingdom that, which is fine. But I know some guys never talk kingdom until 100%. They take it. Which we have talked about that. Even other pastors, and this is the danger. I even think with us as a Hope Church, which has other locations, and the blessing and benefit of that is we can plug and play with bylaws and with mission and strategy, those type things. But at some point, you as the pastor have to own it. Like, you can't just go, hey, this is who we are. Like, the thing that makes us great at Hope Church is everyone has to own that same vision. So none of us can go like, this is mine or this is yours. Like, we all own it. We sign on to it. But if you don't, if it goes, oh, this is just an easy, I don't have to come up with a mission statement.
That's right.
You don't do anything with it because it's not in you. And we've seen other pastors and churches do the same thing. You just rip off this other big church and bring it back to your church, and you're just doing everything another church or group's doing. And it doesn't have the same effect it does in that place because it's originating from them. It's part of their heart, is who they are. And so I think that can be a danger with especially social media and stuff, is everybody can just rob from the other.
Right.
And it's not like
piracy, bro.
Well, and it's not in you. Now, if it's like who you are and you go like, we borrowed and took, but I give credit to the original people, people of the second chance. Like, I love that, but that's part of Mike Foster, people of the second chance. That's a whole group, but we're like, hey, that's who we want to be. That resonates with who we are. And so we used it, but I had no problem going, yeah, I got that from this group over here. It's not original with me. But we're going to utilize it because it says what we want to say in simple terms.
Yep.
So, and that's another pastor, a guy who was pastoring a large church at one time. He said, he would see if they did a conference or something, or he was at a conference and he would see guys at a church like North Point literally measuring out the auditorium and stuff like that because they wanted to go back and do, build this same auditorium. It's like, but you don't have the same people. You don't have this, the auditorium's not going to build the church. It takes a vision. It takes strategy. And so it's just very interesting to see how people just grab things and then you see it struggle and suffer because it's not who they
not yours,
are.
Bro.
It's not. It's got to be birthed out of you. Your vision, who you are, what you care about. If you just steal it, it's like it literally is not. If you build it, they will come. I don't. I mean, it's good for a baseball.
That's right. A movie and stuff.
Yeah,
tagline. Which actually is, leads to a lot of like good conversations about just manhood in general, or even like practical leadership. You start to think about like if you're a dude and you don't own it, you just kind of masquerade and like you want it. Like say for instance, like we joked around just before we got online, just talking about. I made the comment about the 80s. I guess it was just a few minutes ago. We talked about the 80s and having a headband.
The reading the
reading it. Yeah, and like you had the headband from the 80s. All the 80s always had that one scene in all the action movies where they're Rocky's training, kickboxer Jean-Claude Van Damme is kicking stuff. Wearing a headband. Rambo headband. Everybody's like, he mentioned Macho Man, like 80s, like this training session, and you always got to wear a headband. I remember even Goonies, even old boy had a headband as he was working out.
I think it all originated though with Rambo.
Oh, it had to because he made
some
it
of them
real cool.
were almost playing a mock
That's
character.
right.
Yeah.
So like, it's like in my head, I just start thinking about that and going like, so you want that, like you desire, so like you'll copy it, but you don't have the grit. It's not of you. You know what I mean? You don't own it. Like you want to dress up. So it's like almost like playing dress up. Like you dress up as Iron Man on Halloween, but you're not Iron Man. You know, and so it's really got to figure out like, what do you want to be as a man? What do you feel like God's called you to do? We know that there's things that God's called us as men to do and to act like men, right? It says that. And so we need to act like men and we need to be a man. But some of this could be like false bravado, or it could be like we just don't own that. And then what happens is you in your home with your spouse, with your children, even your workplace, you jump right in, and then you find out like you burn out quick. Then after 6 months, you're reventing yourself.
Yeah.
And then you just keep this endless cycle, and it's no stability. It's like you built everything up on sifting sand. There's no firm foundation that you've built it. And so that's a big thing I know I would love to push for men is like really, like you really need to figure out like what you want to be like, especially if you're a dad and you're raising young men as well. Like they're a model. I mean, you know, I think you and I will do at the end of this month, we'll do a parent thing at your church, you know, family deal, you know, and I just came out of doing a parent discipleship class. And one thing that I talk about, the whole principle is building a culture, a discipleship culture in your home. Everything's built upon culture. And so then you manage culture, but culture defines everything. And so one of those is building a framework. And so you want to build this frame. And one of the things about building the frame is one of the things you do without even thinking as a parent, or even as a man for that matter, is modeling. Modeling is like key.
Yeah.
People look at you and go, I want to be like that, you know? But if you're all over the place, you're modeling like schizophrenia, you know? You're modeling like inconsistency, and this is okay. And I don't think it's like that. You know, what about you? What you thinking?
Well, when you were saying that, my mind went to that false bravado. We think that manhood oftentimes is that, you know, sounding tough, looking tough, but I'm 3 of 4 episodes into the Sean Combs, I think is what it's called.
Diddy Combs?
Yeah, the documentary that 50 Cent put together, and in it shows like where he used to be and how no one liked him. People picked on him. Somebody referred to him. He had the Gumby. He was very skinny. He had like this tall box haircut, and you know he kind of changed to this tough man bravado, but that wasn't who he ever was.
Yeah.
And he used to be picked on and all, and which can create with some people a desire to be like, you're not going to push me around type mentality. But they talk through this documentary about how he transitioned and changed, and how he was no longer this kind of young teenager, kind of innocent, but now he's becoming this, they called him like a paper gangster. And he had this bravado about him, and he would like throw stuff in his office and like have this tough guy mentality. And then there was a moment, and I, you know, when you're talking about this, it made me think about this one scene where the guy's talking about P. Diddy, or whatever you would call him. You know, he went by a couple different names, but Diddy, he apparently liked this guy's best friend who he had interest in. And that's one of the things they said about him. Like, if you had a girl, he wanted to try to steal her. And he did that with different people. And so he takes her, and I don't know if this is who he ended up having children with, but it was a woman, and they remained friends, this guy that's talking and being interviewed. And he said one day she's just sitting in the front cab of his truck. And I don't know if the guy was sitting there with him or just outside, and she's sitting in the cab. Well, anyway, Diddy comes up and won't be like, you know, angry, like, what are you doing with her? Da 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 da. And he said he swung on him. And he said, and he completely missed. He said, but just, it was laughable that Diddy would swing on me, much less any one of us. He said, because essentially we would destroy him, like if we wanted to. But on paper, because he was getting success in the record industry and promoting people and all this different stuff, he started believing in his mind that he was tougher than what he was. Like all of a sudden he went from being a nobody who couldn't fight, who got picked on, who got beat up, to now you're going to swing on a guy in the streets who's been fighting his whole life, who could, beat him up. And he said he didn't do anything because he had respect for him because of what he was doing in the media, but at the same time it was laughable. And I think that was a good picture of especially young men and men who grow up with instability. They see a mindset, you see the tough guy on TV or whatever, and I want to be that.
Mm-hmm.
But they really don't do the work to become
right.
that. It becomes this false picture and false idea of what manhood really is, because manhood isn't just being a tough guy. Sure, you want to be strong and capable and able to protect your family, but what's underneath that?
That's right.
It's not just the facade, but it's a desire to be able to protect your family, to provide for your family, to defend them in the midst of trouble, to protect the vulnerable. Like that's the true manhood.
Mm-hmm.
Is I'm a protector, and to be a good protector, what does that mean I have to do?
Yeah.
Who do I have to become to do that? And I believe anybody, someone who's picked on, someone who's more nerdy, someone who isn't a natural fighter, if that's who they want to be because they believe that's who God wants them to be, you can go take martial arts.
That's
you can
right.
go to the gym and get stronger. Like you can become what you need to become in order at the very root of who you are to be that man.
Yeah.
And that's why it's like, I don't want to just be false bravado. Like if I want to be able to protect my family, I want to learn how to protect my family.
Mm-hmm.
So it goes beyond just talk into the integrity of I'm going to do the work. I'm not just going to talk the talk, which is kind of what we were just talking about with the ministry stuff. It's like, I'm not just going to throw slogans around, or I'm not going to use tough language if I can't back it up. I'm not going to be a paper gangster.
That's right.
Maybe in our case, we'd say a paper man.
That's right.
Like on paper, you look tough,
but you're not.
But you're not.
Well, that's the first thing I think of is that somebody who wears a Stetson cowboy hat and cowboy boots and a big belt buckle, but they don't ride horses.
Yeah.
But they just want to look because they love country music.
Yeah, like the look.
And then you're like, oh, I don't know, man. The Wranglers, bro. Somebody calls you out. I don't know, man. But yeah, I think that is a big plague. That is something that I know I see a lot. And some of that, and not to switch gears totally, but just think through though, those who do want to be something, they feel God has put the desire in their heart and they want to be this man, God's man, we'll say that. Then you have to prepare to like do the work, and you have to be consistent and diligent and steadfast and like really pursue the things of God, that what God has put that desire in your heart, and you feel like this is who I want to be. I mean, I think immediately back when I first got in ministry, and I think about that oftentimes. Like I remember first getting ministry, I had people in front of me who I admire a lot in ministry, and I want to be like them. But I had so many issues, like, I'm dyslexic, so like learning the Bible, like really learning it, was really confusing. Memorizing scripture was very confusing because it has to do with numbers. I get numbers backwards. Like I would quote stuff and be off and be like, John 3:61, that type of stuff. Not really. I mean, I have
like that one.
John 3:60.
John 3:61 is great, man.
But like stuff like that, you kind of go like, you struggle a little bit with stuff, and then, just and not growing up in the church world. Like I'm not really good at like navigating the church world, but I had people in front of me. I'm really grateful that I can look at, and God obviously by His grace like did some really cool stuff. But I remember like even fleshing that out, having to figure out like who do I want to be at that time. A student pastor, and I had people like that I liked in mainstream that would go to summer camp. They would preach, and I remember I would try to preach like them. I really would, because they sounded so smart, and they were so creative in their message, crafty, were making the text come alive. Not adding anything to the text, but they would make it come alive. Like I can I would learn so much about God because they spent so much time working on communicating. And it come to be, and man, I was terrible. I just didn't do a good job at that. And it wasn't my strong suit, wasn't very smart. And I remember coming to grips with that going, I just can't. I mean, I actually went across the text where Saul gave David some, I mean, the text that really like messed me up was the simple text where Saul gave David his armor to wear to battle. And David's like, I can't wear this stuff. It didn't belong to him. And I remember reading that text. I mean, this is like 2005, 2006. I remember reading that going, huh. Like, and I remember the Holy Spirit checking me and I'm going like, I got to stop all this foolishness. Because I was really trying to figure out who I want to be. And then I just, said, well, I'm just going to be the best version of myself. And then people start stealing my ideas.
Well, that's when you know they're good.
Yep. Now I look back, it was pretty cheesy. Some of my stuff.
Well, I mean, at the time,
you got to
start somewhere.
At the time, it's so cutting edge. And then you're like, man, that was cheesy, bro. Now, it'd be cheesy now, but.
Well, I mean, I've had actually a big time guy with the Blaze took one of my photos. He didn't take it. Probably someone else took it, and then he saw it, and then he shared it. Of course, his platform's much bigger, and I saw it. I was like, that's my picture. Like, I can show where I created it in Canva. Like, that's my photo. Because one of our Hope pastors saw it, and he tagged me in it. And he's like, didn't you create, isn't this yours? And I was like, whoa. So it's pretty cool to see something like you're just randomly scrolling or something. Go, hold on, that's my photo, or
that's exactly
whatever.
Right.
So I mean, there is a bit of flattery in it,
and I don't mind. Some people, they can. I guess it's like I don't mind people taking something and like changing it up like 3 or 4 ways, or one way or something like that. It doesn't bother me at all. I actually love that. Like, if I can say something, a phrase, and then you can make it better, by all means, because what I'm about to give you ain't gonna be all that great in my book. But if you change it a little bit, I'm like, that's pretty cool. Like, pretty creative, with that.
It's funny because I quoted someone, and either they didn't hear me quote the individual, because usually I say, as I've said multiple times, as my buddy Shane says, whatever. Or I'll say, as so-and-so says, because I always try to give credit where credit's due on a statement. And they heard the statement, and I guess thought it originated with me. And so they made like a nice photo and framed it, and they put the quote, and then they put that it was from me and gave it to me as like a gift. And because I guess it was so impactful. And I was like, I didn't say
dude, right?
I've
had that same thing happen to me, and I'm like, I'm regurgitating something that I, or I've said something and I've gave the credentials of it so many times. I just think that it's just like self-explanatory at this point. Like I've probably have said it a billion times, and like and then people. They just associate that, Dr. McKinley, he says at church, he says all the time, he says, my brain has gone. My brain hadn't been working, guys, that well. We talked about like to the glory of God. I can't remember exactly the phrase that he uses, but that was his pastor. He grew up, which is famous pastor, Adrian Rogers.
Oh, Adrian Rogers. Yeah.
That was his pastor.
Yeah.
But he quoted that so much, Adrian Rogers. It always Adrian Rogers, that he just now says it.
Yeah.
Excellence in all things, and all things to the glory of God. That's an Adrian Rogers quote. But he'll say, he quote him so much, so now he says it all the time. People always just contribute to Dr. McKinley. And it's like, but I know my head, I still do that. I'll go DHM says, but I know my head that he got from Adrian Rogers. But to me, he says it.
I mean, just shorten it and say, as AR says.
AR says.
But yeah, I mean, and those things, did Adrian get it somewhere else? At some point, I mean, he's given credit. He could always point back and go, I gave credit here. But I think along the lines of, before we kind of start to wrap this up, along the lines of what you were just saying, kind of identifying who as a man you want to be. That's part of leadership. I told you yesterday I was writing some material for a leadership training we're going to do at the beginning of the year with all of our staff and leaders, volunteer leaders and stuff like that. And so I'm going to steal that now from Dr. David McKinley and Adrian Rogers, because one of the sessions I'm doing is on excellence and how we aim for excellence. And so I'm going to steal that now. And, but I'll quote Pastor McKinley. And since said,
excellence, I tell this all the time. Excellence is doing the best you can with what you got.
Yep.
That's excellent.
Yep.
Is doing the very best you can.
I'll put that.
With what you got.
I'll quote Shane.
That's Shane Paget. That's a Shane Paget. Don't steal it now.
Yeah, but
I'm just playing.
Also, we're talking about taking like initiative, but leadership. One of the things I put in this workbook that we'll be talking about is leadership is the ability. And this is the difference, but I think everyone's capable of it in some way, because just because you're wired differently, God still calls you to be a leader if you're married and stuff like that. There are those, and you know this because you've done enough with leadership, but a leader sees a problem, but also will find a way to solve that problem. Now, that doesn't mean they have all the knowledge and the wisdom and the skill to do it. They know how to recruit other people to bring them in to go, hey, we have this problem. Can you help me fix it? They build the team or whatever that might be, but they identify the problem. They see it, but they're not afraid to engage it. You got managers who are more of the one where the leader goes, hey, I need you to manage this. I need you to execute this to make this happen or whatever. And then you got people, maybe the skilled people beneath that, but it's the leader seeing the problem, identifying the problem. And that's sometimes where you can tell whether or not someone's a leader or not, a natural leader, because it's like, hey, they can recognize a problem. You're not having to point it out to them all the time.
Yeah.
That's usually more of a manager. They're managing things that you're showing them. So I think with men, we're all called to be leaders in one way or another. We're always called to lead ourselves, but then God might give you a family. And while that might not be your natural wiring, you have to be able to see those deficiencies and those areas that you need to work on or improve or submit over to Christ in order to become the man that you either envision or that God has called you to be. And then take the steps necessary to do it. And I love this quote. I told you there were several great quotes that I ran across. This won't be in the material, I don't think, but it may be, but Jim Rohn said, if you really want to do something, you'll find a way. If you don't, you'll find an excuse.
That's right.
And I love that because we have one of two options as men. We either identify where we need to go and who we need to become and do something about it, or we just make excuses. And then 2 years from now, we look back and go, still making excuses, but we're not anywhere closer or further to where we knew we needed to be 2 years prior because we've not done anything. We've made excuses. And excuses kill dreams, kills vision. It paralyzes people and, holds them where they're at. And I think that's, to me, a good challenge no matter what role you play in the world. But as men, when we see, hey, I need to get better at this. I need to become more like Christ in this way or whatever that might be, to then go, okay, what steps do I need to take and discipline ourselves, create new habits, whatever is necessary in order to make that happen. Because 6 months down the road, we're going to be much further than if we just fold our hands and sit still. We, choose what's easy. The other day you sent a thing about people making excuses because they're tired and not working out. Those excuses. But if you start today, whether it be working out or whatever it might be, you'll be much further down the road looking back, and you might still not be where you want to be, but you're much further than where you were. And so I just think for all of us, as we decide what kind of men we want to be, we can't make excuses. We have to take action.
Dude, I think that's big time. You've got to, man, be action led. That reminds me of that. I guess it was a meme that said, "Man, even a crackhead will find a way to to get drugs." And like you like, and I know for me, I have zero. Maybe it's a sin. I don't know, but like I have zero patience. People complain about being overweight or like, not, looking their best. All of it. What I'm saying is that these things are very easy and attainable. However, it will require a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
It just will. But anything requires, if you want to be a millionaire, it's going to require a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
If you want to be a good parent, you're going to have to be very intentional. It's going to require a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
Like anything that you want to be good at, it's going to require hard work. The question is, are you willing to do it? And like, I don't, when it comes to like food and all that, I don't know. And maybe I'm just stubborn. Maybe I've always just had this like stubborn brain that I just feel like somebody's about to whoop me. Oh, bro, that just makes me like, I remember we would do a 24-hour fast. I'd have to go 25 hours just because I couldn't do 24.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm just going to barely make it to 24. Nah, bro, we got to do one step above it, And I don't know, man. But in saying that, there are things though that's just working out, physical stuff. I know for me, a lot of the emotional side and the mental stuff, that's where I'm really stretching myself and trying to like flex. That's why I'm writing the book. If we started this whole thing off on book writing, that's why I have to continue, taking a little bite of that elephant, bite at a time, so that I can be done. My goal is May. And right now, I'm pushing it, but
Yeah.
I'm hoping I can get on the ball and really do it. But if I keep saying I want to do it, and I'm going to do it, I got to do it.
Yeah.
So Nikki did it, and she's
Right.
number one now because of you guys. So,
And I could say, well, we talked about it at the same time, but there's no. I've had time to get further than where I'm at, but I can't be a victim of my circumstances.
well, all your energy, bro, all your energy went to supporting your bride.
That's it. And look how well she's doing.
But that's what you do.
And I
sacrifice.
was preparing my voice to do the audible version
That's
of
right.
the book.
Narrating it.
Some people though, they would look and they would say, I think I would look good in one of those Male Cartel T-shirts.
That's right.
Like the white on black or the black on white.
If they want to get one though, there is a way that can
Yep,
happen.
Exactly, because we are getting into the cold season, and we've got
it's
some
cold.
Nice hoodies. Neither
They're
one of
very
us are
nice.
wearing today, but in Augusta, it's going to be almost 60 degrees. So it's a little bit of, this is a thinner hoodie this is a thicker hoodie, but it's soft, it's comfortable, black on black. So it's not very like out there, but they can either make excuses and keep desiring, say, man, I like that Male Cartel hat. I need to get me a Male Cartel hat.
Well, they can just go buy it,
Or
bro.
they can just go do it.
Just do it. Nike said that.
Just do it.
Yeah.
And so they can either make an excuse and go, I'm busy, or they could carve out the time to go to malecartel.com, hit the merch
and just buy it.
tab on the menu.
Nike.
It's right there.
It's not Nike. It's Hikey. That's
That's it. That's all you got to do. Click it.
Yeah.
And then fill your cart up with items. Christmas is almost here.
Buy gifts. That's a wonderful gift.
And there's a flat rate shipping.
Who don't like flat rate shipping?
Flat rate shipping. I mean, we're not Amazon, so we can't do free Prime.
I know.
But it's inexpensive, especially flat rate. That means
That's
whatever
right.
you order. So they could make excuses, or on
That's
Christmas go, Christmas Eve, looking for gifts. And then they're like, man, I could have got my dad a Male Cartel hat or a T-shirt, and I made excuses. So don't make excuses. They can go to malecartel.com. In the menu, select merch. Go to our store. Order some great Male Cartel
That's right.
merch.
I would do it.
And be set for Christmas.
Yep. Think of others, man. Think of others. And think for yourself, too, Purchase it. Support the ministry.
Absolutely. Treat yourself. My birthday's coming up on the 16th. That surprised me. I got a message. It's like, your birthday's in so many days. I was like, man, I'm about to be mid-40s. And so for my birthday, treat yourself.
That's
Look,
right.
I don't need anything.
There you go.
Treat yourself to some Male Cartel merch.
Do it. Just buy it.
And while you're at it, share this episode as well as other episodes that you have enjoyed. that have been beneficial to you. Our audience is pretty much audio, video. We have a social media account, but not a lot of interaction there.
We just not good. We're just not good at it.
Our men work.
That's right.
And
We work.
They provide and spend time with
That's
their
right.
families. But please share it, like it, subscribe, rate it, give us a good review, and we would be greatly appreciative of that. And other than that,
get 1% better
every day. We'll see you.
Let's go.
Thank you for joining the Male Cartel podcast. Be sure to subscribe and share to help other men join the cartel. You can also keep up with us on social media and at malecartel.com.